and welcome back to the channel where I'll be reviewing each Premier League club's action during the transfer window and who I think is their star signing. First up is Arsenal, who have made the best deadline day signing in Thomas Partey. The Ghanaian moved from Atletico Madrid at the end of the window for £45 million, but he'll be worth every penny. Arteta's been playing defensive football, and personally I think it's because he hasn't got the quality to play the expansive football he would like. Partey is one step closer to that goal. The defensive midfielder will remind some Arsenal fans of Patrick Vieira. He's powerful and commanding in the middle of the park, but he's very calm and composed too. Partey has been a key member of Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. He was exceptional against Liverpool in the Champions League and will be a massive upgrade for the Gunners when compared to the likes of El Nene and Xhaka. Everyone knows how solid Partey is defensively, but even though he only scored 4 goals last season, he's definitely capable of increasing that tally for the Gunners this season. Brazilian defender Gabriel looks to be one for the future, and the fact Arteta kept him out of Arsenal's 3-1 loss to Liverpool is a good sign the manager is keen for him to not be rushed for every Premier League match. Willian on a free is a good bit of business, and with all the games coming up he will definitely prove his worth. Re-signing Dani Ceballos on loan was also a solid decision, especially since the club failed to buy Leon's Aouar. Arsenal would have been a big problem if both him and Partey had been signed. Personally, I think Emiliano Martinez is better than Leno in between the sticks, and maybe they should have kept him. But it's clear he couldn't stay at the club as a number 2 for another season, and there was no way the German keeper would leave. Overall, it's been a solid window for Arsenal, and they're definitely moving forward with Arteta at the reins. Problems with the board backing the manager in the past transfer windows, but no complaints this time around if you're an Arsenal fan. Up next is Aston Villa, who have also made some solid signings for the upcoming season. Ollie Watkins stands out for me. £30 million is a lot for a Championship striker, but he showed against Liverpool he's capable of replicating his top form last season. The 24-year-old has all the makings of performing well at the Premier League. He's fast, strong, has excellent finishing and will run at the back line. Jack Grealish alone created 91 chances that season, but Villa struggled to convert them. Now with a top striker in the team, Aston Villa will have the ability to maintain their strong start to the season. New goalkeeper Martinez from Arsenal is a steal as well. The Argentine showed towards the end of last season he's a very good goalkeeper. So much so, he's in line to become Argentina's number 1. Ross Barkley has only played 1 match for Villa, but he scored in the dominating win over Liverpool and played like the Barkley from the Everton days. A move from Chelsea to Villa is great for him, as it guarantees him a starting 11 place, and Villa have a player who's desperate to get back into the England side. Win-win really. Matty Cash and Bertrand Traore are good signings too. Cash gives Dean more quality at fullback, whereas Traore offers more depth on attacking positions, something Villa lacked last season due to injuries. Aston Villa have made some good signings, but most importantly, they kept Jack Grealish. Grealish is on a mission to prove Gareth Southgate why he needs to start for England, and after his top performances since the start of the season and against Wales on Thursday night, it would be hard for Gareth to not if he sustains them. Possible Europa League dark horses maybe? Too early to say, but their action in the transfer market has helped them big time. Brighton haven't signed many players who will fit in their first team straight away. Instead, they've bought players for the future, like Lars Dendoncker, brother of Wolves player Leander. One player who will fit straight into their starting 11 is former Liverpool and Southampton midfielder Adam Lallana. The playmaker dropped in the ranks at Liverpool and was allowed to leave on a free. A move to Brighton is perfect for both parties. Brighton now have improved their starting 11 with an experienced Prem player in Lallana who will offer Graham Potter's side that extra bit of quality the Seagulls have lacked in recent seasons. He's played at the highest level for Liverpool, and that experience will be massive for Brighton, who dropped 14 points from winning positions last season. Lallana is an aggressive midfielder who has great quality with the ball at his feet, a huge improvement for Brighton's team, and the fact he was signed on a free is a terrific bit of business as well. Brighton have also got rid of some deadwood in their squad too. Montoya leaves, with youngster Tariq Lamptey holding down the right back position. Knockout and Moy are also leaving the club. However, Moy going to China is an interesting move, since I thought he was one of Brighton's best players last season. Top bit of business by Brighton, playing good football as of late, and have certainly improved their squad too. One club which hasn't had the best transfer window is Burnley. The club failed to renew contracts of experienced players like Lennon and Hendrick, leading to Dyche having a depleted squad ahead of the new season. Burnley have always been tight with their funds for Dyche to operate with, and this season, when he needed it more than ever, they only ever signed 31-year-old Dale Stephens and a backup keeper from Wolves. Stevens is a player with lots of first team experience and will definitely fit in the organised system at Burnley, but the lack of quality at the club is telling after they failed to get a point from any of their first 3 matches. The club spent the least out of anyone in the Prem, and I think that will be their downfall this season, with relegation a big possibility. Following their transfer ban, Chelsea have been very busy in the window this season and have arguably had the best window too. The London side have picked up 2 world-class German talents in Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. It was tough to decide who's the better signing between the two, but with him being 3 years younger, I went with Havertz. The tall attacking midfielder is a statement signing for Chelsea. He's very versatile and offers Lampard lots of quality in a number of positions. He scored 18 goals for Bayern Leverkusen last season, and I expect him alongside Werner to make Chelsea a dangerous threat when on the attack this season. His German counterpart Werner may have a better season following his extra years of experience. The striker netted 34 times last season, but has consistently been prolific in front of goal in the Bundesliga after scoring 94 times across 4 seasons for RB Leipzig. Both haven't hit the ground running at Chelsea, but once they get used to the intensity of the league, they'll be a strong force to stop. He hasn't been able to play yet because of an injury, but playmaker Hakim Ziyech is another excellent signing as well. The former Ajax midfielder was integral in their impressive Champions League run a couple of seasons ago and offers Chelsea some more quality going forward. Chelsea have also strengthened their defence too. Former Leicester fullback Ben Chilwell is a much needed addition after the likes of Alonso and Emerson haven't exactly been consistently good. The English defender will offer Chelsea a lot going forward, as he showed on his league debut for the Blues, where he bagged a goal and an assist. Now, he might have been a solid signing a few years ago, but Thiago Silva is definitely past his best. He made a horrible mistake against West Brom in their 3-3 draw and looks to have been too comfortable after playing in the French league for 8 years. After spending more than 200 million this season, Chelsea are showing they mean business in the league, but I think he has to be given time to these players, and only in a couple of seasons will we see their quality shine consistently in a blue shirt. Quiet window for Palace, but they did make one of the best signings of the window in Eberechi Eze. The 22-year-old moved from QPR and lit up the championship with his flair and skill, as well as scoring 14 goals last season. Don't be surprised if you watch him play and he starts megging experienced players on the pitch as if he's playing at the park. Will be a big threat for teams this season after Roy Hodgson's side have impressed in most of their games since the start of the season. Keeping Zaha is great for Palace too, as he plays a massive part in their goals. If they had sold him, then it would have been hard to find a replacement who's as talented as him. No major outs for Palace, and judging by their start to the season, they could upset a few of the big teams along the way. The current Premier League leaders have made some very smart signings, which seem to have gelled straight away. Ancelotti's team now consists of James Rodriguez, Abdoulaye Doucouré and Allen. The balance is exceptional. Rodriguez is showing the form from the 2014 World Cup, which got him the Golden Boot for scoring 6 times. He's been given licence to roam free, and his delivery will enable Dominic Calvert-Lewin to continue his own top form to the season as well. Allen played under Ancelotti at Napoli, and his Champions League experience will help the Toffees to compete for a European competition spot. Which one is too soon to say, but they are the dark horses for top form. Doucouré was always bound to move from Watford after their relegation, but the Frenchman is a powerful box-to-box midfielder who will work his socks off for the full 90 alongside his Brazilian teammate. At times, Everton's defence has looked shaky, so the signing of Ben Godfrey is key for Ancelotti's goal of cutting out the defensive mistakes from his side's performances. Like Brighton, Everton have moved on some players who weren't going to feature for the team. I'd actually forgotten Oumar Niasse was still their player. Top work from Everton, and they're reaping the rewards as they sit at the top of the table. Could this be their year? Fulham have brought in quite a few players this season, but I can't see them helping in their fight to stay in the league. Scott Parker's side have been poor defensively, and I don't see that changing with the signings made. Anderson and Tete from Lyon on loan will need time to adapt to the league, and former City defender Tosin Adarabayoro lacks the experience Fulham need. Ruben Loftus-Cheek becomes the best player in the team if he stays fit. The English midfielder has the quality to make things happen for Fulham, and again he's one player who will need a standout season to make Gareth pick him for the England squad. It hasn't really worked out at Leipzig for Ademola Lookman, so a club like Fulham, where he should start on the wing most games, could get his career back on track in playing regularly. Ultimately, Fulham needed Premier League proven quality and they haven't got it, and as a result I think they'll still be relegated. Last season's championship winners have made a fine start to the Premier League after picking up a point against Man City and nearly taking one from Anfield as well. Things can only get better from their performances with the added quality Marco Bielsa has obtained. Signing Helder Costa and reloading Jack Harrison were essential as the pair were key for Leeds' success last season. Spanish striker Rodrigo is starting to settle in at Ellen Road after a goal against City, but the signing that has caught my eye is of French keeper Ilian Melier. I didn't watch Leeds at all last season, but the start they have made this season has been helped massively by the 20-year-old in goal for them. The former Lorient keeper made a terrific save against Sheffield United to prevent his side from dropping points, and has shown in the first 4 games he's deserving of becoming the club's number 1. Big future for this lad as he looks to be a world-class keeper in the making, and who better than Marco Bielsa to develop under. Strong start to the season by Leicester, with their only blip coming in last week's 3-0 loss to West Ham. But the new signings coming in mean you won't find too many big losses like that from the Foxes. Timothy Castan has made a great start to life in the Premier League, with the fullback bombing it down the right flank, replicating movements with former club Atalanta. The Belgium defender has a goal and 2 assists, and he'll likely increase those numbers. Wilfred Ndidi will no longer need to play as a makeshift centre-back. Now the club have signed promising 19-year-old Wesley Fofana. He's an aggressive defender who should have no problem in developing in the league, and he could be a big talent at Leicester as the club tries to close the gap on the big 6 teams. The club let Chilwell move to Chelsea, but academy player James Justin looks like he's settled in very well into the first team. Overall, a solid window for Brendan Rodgers' side. Hard to improve a starting 11 that has just won the title, but somehow Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool have done so. Signing Thiago Alcantara from Bayern is a world-class signing. Liverpool don't buy ready-made world-class talent at all, but the transfer for Thiago will certainly make Liverpool harder to play against as the club attempts to retain the title. He's only played 45 minutes, but with a record most passes in a half, it shows he's happy to control the tempo of the match. At times, when a side has dropped and sat back, it's been hard to break them down, but now with the quality of Thiago, he has the vision to break the lines with a key pass and set one of the front 3 in on goal. Talking of the front 3, when they haven't been firing on all cylinders, it's been difficult to look at the bench and see how it can improve mid-game. Now with Diogo Jota from Wolves, there's more quality at Klopp's disposal, and if the likes of Salah or Firmino are having off days, a heavy fixture list for October and November is ahead for the Reds, so the signing of Greek fullback Kostas Tomiskas is ideal as it's impossible for Robertson to play every match and always rely on James Milner to fill in. The Greek will develop well at Liverpool and will have plenty of opportunities to show the league Liverpool have 2 top left backs. Fantastic bit of work from Michael Edwards to sell Ryan Brewster for 20-odd million, especially when the lads never started a Premier League match. Perfect window for the Reds, but now they need to show it on the pitch and hopefully bounce back for the derby against Everton, where Thiago should be back from COVID. Moving on to Pep Guardiola's City, who, like Liverpool, have only signed 3 players, but focusing more on the defenders, despite spending close to £400 million at City. Ruben Diaz has been brought in by Pep to partner Aymeric Laporte in the back line after midfielder Fernandinho was trusted at the back more so than actual defenders John Stones and Nicolas Otamendi, but it's a lot of pressure for a 23-year-old to handle. A £65 million signing on a defender from the Portuguese league is always a gamble, but he has the attributes to succeed where others haven't at City. Diaz is a real leader on the field, again something City have lacked, and in one-on-one situations he seems to read the game very well. All good playing well in the Liga NOS, but it will be interesting to see how he performs in the Prem. Nathan Ake is a solid choice for depth at centre-back, with the Dutch defender having plenty of experience in the league and will be needed if Laporte picks up another injury, which is likely given his history. Torres from Valencia again adds more depth out wide for Pep, but the main issue he had to fix was at defence, and he may have found his Vincent Kompany replacement £300 million later. The departure of Leroy Sané is a cruel one for City fans, as he's actually their best winger at the club on his day. A move to the current Champions League holders will show Pep what he's been missing, and maybe he should have agreed to whatever contract demands the German was after. City not playing well at the moment, but the inclusion of Diaz at the back may change their form around, with the Champions League group matches round the corner. Manchester United are a mess right now. The club failed to sign Jadon Sancho despite agreeing personal terms 2 months ago, and they've panic bought Edinson Cavani and an 18-year-old from Atalanta. There's no way they can say Cavani wasn't a panic buy, because if they actually wanted him, they'd have signed him before the start of the season, as he's been a free agent for months. Ole's job is on the line and the club have hung him out to dry. The centre-back parent of Lindelof and Maguire is shambolic, and Bailly showed in the 6-1 loss against Spurs that even he's better than the world's most expensive defender. Chris Smalling had a great season on loan at Roma and should have been persuaded to stay, but the club let him go for under 20 million. That will cost them big time. Did they then buy a centre-back? No. Instead, they did sign Porto's Alex Telles, who will easily start ahead of Luke Shaw. The club then went out and bought 2 youngsters who may have the potential to be world-class players, who knows, but at the moment they are a mess and the first team quality Ole needed was not bought. Although he should still be getting more out of the team with the funds they have spent. I think their best signing is Donny van der Beek. The Dutch midfielder should have come on at half-time when the game was already lost last weekend, but instead Ole took his time and gave him barely any chance to make an impact. Van der Beek is a crafty midfielder who can make things happen for his team. He's good at winning the ball back and is capable of scoring a goal, as he showed on his United debut v Palace. Ole has to find a way of getting him started. What was the point of spending 35 million on a player who will sit on the bench when the players on the pitch aren't giving their all for the club? Poor window from United. They did manage to get Alexis Sanchez off the wage bill, but failed to keep young talent Angel Gomez from leaving on a free. The club needs big change, and even as a Liverpool fan, it doesn't seem right to see United in 16th. But it is still funny though. After coming so close to selling his beloved Newcastle, Mike Ashley has seen that if he adds a bit more quality, then maybe more possible buyers will swoop in for the club. The additions of Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser are great Premier League proven buys. Newcastle lacked a goal scorer last season, and with Wilson you know he'll score the much needed goals for the Baggies. Wilson missed a lot of last season due to injury, but he already looks like he's a bargain at only 20 million. Surprising not more are in for him, as it's hard to come by strikers who can score goals consistently in the Premier League. Firmino's been struggling for a couple seasons now. Fullback Jamal Lascelles is a good buy too. The lad was wanted by Liverpool, so you know there's a big future ahead of him. Expect him in a Newcastle shirt to go more forward than he did at Norwich. Now, with a recognised goalscorer, Steve Bruce's side will have a better season, and I expect them to surprise a few teams, especially if Alan St-Maximin can stay fit. A much needed striker was bought for Chris Wilder, but the Blades have taken a gamble on Liverpool prospect Ryan Brewster. Brewster proved last season for Swansea he's capable of scoring goals at the Championship, but now he's going to have to prove he's able to help lift Sheffield United out of the relegation zone. Big question marks whether he can do it in the Premier League, but 10 goals from 20 games is pretty good going for your first run out in the Championship. Dean Henderson stayed at United, so the club have brought Aaron Ramsdale in to replace him, but it was always going to be a downgrade as Henderson is arguably England's best keeper at the moment. The former Bournemouth keeper is still a reliable option though. The club essentially came 9th with the Championship squad last season, but so far it shows the lack of quality is there, and I wouldn't be surprised if Wilder didn't look to buy from the Championship while he still can. Southampton's best signing of the window for me has to be making Kyle Walker-Peters a permanent transfer. The fullback has been on loan at Southampton, but Ralph Hasenhüttl clearly saw enough to suggest he should be bought. Walker-Peters has great acceleration and pace, which he'll use to move down the right flank. His crossing ability is also decent, so expect him to get a few assists setting up Ings or Adams for a goal. The club also signed ball-winning midfielder Ibrahima Diallo from Brest. The Frenchman will add some pace in the Southampton midfield and will help his side transition from defence to attack much quicker. Walcott makes a return to Southampton, but can't see him starting most games for the Saints. Spurs have made a good start to the season, despite their poor performance on the opening day against Everton, and will look an even better side when new signing Gareth Bale returns from injury. Yes, that's right, if you didn't know, then you must be living under a rock, because Gareth Bale has returned to Spurs on loan from Real Madrid. The Welshman is currently out with a knee injury, but should return in a couple of weeks and will certainly bolster an already firing Tottenham attack. Son's got 6 goals already, and Harry Kane has got 3 goals and 6 assists. Does adding Bale make their front three the best in the league? The Portuguese manager has also signed Sergio Reguilón after his excellent loan season with Sevilla. As backup for the forwards, Benfica striker Carlo Vinicius has been loaned to the London side and will most likely feature as the main man in Europa League fixtures. Doherty and Højbjerg are Premier League proven signings that strengthen the starting 11 and give Spurs a more aggressive edge. Spurs have managed to create a strong starting 11 with quality on the bench as well. Probably the strongest squad I've ever seen. Their busy fixtures in Europe may halt their top 4 hopes, but Harry Redknapp believes the club can go one better and win the league this season. Not too sure about that one, Harry, but with some squads still finding their feet and others crumbling, it could be their best chance yet. The Baggies have managed to sign some key players from last season who played a big part in their automatic promotion. Their star player is the Brazilian Matheus Pereira. He's got the swagger to turn a game on its head and get the Baggies a much needed goal when they're down. Himself and former West Ham winger Grady Diangana will need to be on top of their game in order to keep their side from going back into the Championship, as defensively there are some big question marks. Former Chelsea star Branislav Ivanovic has been signed on a free from Zenit and here provide the much needed Premier League experience that the Baggies backline is lacking. But just one man can't fix a poor defence and it may not be enough. Tough season ahead for Slaven Bilic, but the quality West Brom have going forward means they can cause any team a problem. It's the question of whether they can consistently perform in the world's hardest league. Not too many players joining the Hammers as of yet. West Ham have made a double swoop on a duo from Slavia Prague. Thomas Souček was on loan last season and showed he has his aerial presence and physicality, which is great for West Ham. At only 25 and for £15 million, it's not a bad signing since it's clear he can compete in the Premier League. The other player brought in from the Czech Republic was fullback Vladimir Koufal, who actually looked very good in the 3-0 win over Leicester. Can't be too optimistic over one game, but it seems a very decent signing for only £5 million. Big uproar from fans and players after Diangana was sold to West Brom, but apparently the Hammers are in for Brentford's Saeed Benrahma, who I believe is a far better player and is ready for the Premier League challenge after scoring 17 times and picking up 10 assists in the Championship last season. Last but not least is Wolves, who have surprisingly purchased some more Portuguese talent, so much so they have more Portuguese players at their club than 6 of the teams in the Portuguese league. Nelson Semedo is the standout signing, who will drop straight in for Matt Doherty and will replicate what the Irishman had been doing for Wolves, getting down the line and crossing the ball to Jimenez. The club have also signed young striker Fabio Silva from Porto, who Nuno is likely to have as a Jimenez for future replacement. Haven't seen too much from him, but at 18 years of age he's still got way more development before he becomes ready for the Prem, and I'm sure Nuno will make sure he isn't rushed into the fray at Wolves. Thanks to those who checked out the video, and if you managed to get this far, I appreciate it a lot. If you agree or disagree with any of the star signings of each club, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.